Welcome. I'm Danielle Sally.
And I'm Eva Fusa.
And you're listening to Ghost Boss, stories about the freelance afterlife. Hey, ghosties. You was going to keep laughing.
How many episodes? I don't know how many episodes you're going to have to say that before I don't
Stop
laugh
laughing.
at you.
Which means it's right. Okay.
I just hope our audience likes hearing me laugh. I've been told several times that my laugh carries very far and people can hear me like outside of a building. When I'm
for
laughing.
sure. That's accurate. So let's record it.
Anyways, hello, everybody.
Hi. How are you doing, Eva?
I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good. It's still raining in Columbia.
Still raining.
Still mad about my hair.
It's not great.
I don't have purple combs.
Your hair's good. It's just the weather's not great.
It's fine. It's fine. I don't have a purple comb today to talk about.
No.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
So today we wanted to talk about, one of our topics for discussion was, do you miss humans?
I think we'd have different things to say.
Probably, actually.
Are we staying on brand about being different people?
Exactly. But we also wanted to get into what it's like to leave your work besties because everyone has them. Everyone has their work besties. But actually, does everyone have them?
So yeah.
I saw you.
Let's unpack.
Okay, let's
unpack.
Where do we want to start?
You tell me. I'm ready to start rambling.
You go. I can see you.
I feel like I told Danielle when we got in the studio today, I was like, I'm in a mood. I'm feeling real sassy.
Wait, so did you have work besties to leave?
Yeah, but like my work bestie was my actual bestie too.
Oh.
So we were friends before I worked there.
Yeah.
And then I happened to get a job where she worked completely independent. Like somebody separate called me in.
Gotcha.
So it was totally separate. So I had brunch with my work bestie like 2 days ago.
Yeah.
She's my actual bestie. I mean, like when I found out I was pregnant, she was like the call after my mother.
Yeah.
Like we've been friends for like 20 years. So,
awesome.
Yeah. So, but like non besties like that, I've had to leave some work besties. I do decent at keeping up with them.
Same.
But then I'm not great. So like now, like I'm just very happy that I can just like everybody's stuff on Instagram so that they know like I still think you're cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know.
I think
Did you have to leave your work bestie?
Yeah.
Oh, you look so sad.
I had many. And
many? Were they in
a solid handful.
They were in like an order though, right?
Oh, I ranked them. No,
okay.
No, I didn't. I love you all equally.
No, we don't. No, we don't. Hold on. You have to rank them.
I will say.
I mean, you don't have to rank them. We're not going to MySpace top 8
in their own rights, right? Like I had one that was actually in the Columbia office with me. And then I had 2 that were in different offices, but we had our coffee talk every day.
Your what?
A coffee talk. Oh,
you said it so weird.
That's how you say it.
That's not how you say it.
Well, we'd have our chit chats every day. Is that
no. Go back.
Have our coffee talk.
That's not how you say it.
That is how you say it if you're having an appropriate coffee talk.
Where are you from?
New Jersey.
Wait, that's where you were born. When did you move?
I know, but you have to say it like that. That's
no, you do not.
You do when one of your work besties is from Long Island.
Okay.
So I had different levels of work besties, but that's what made it so hard to leave.
Oh, I didn't. It was fine.
But I find it funny because you're the extrovert. So I kind of just assumed that you would have millions of work besties. Whereas I literally, one of the reasons I did all this because I wanted to be alone. But that was partially part of the reason. It was a huge part of the reason, not partially, that it was so hard to leave. And a huge reason why I stayed as long as I did. Yeah. Because I've built such close bonds with some of the people that I work with in and out of the office. And a lot of them I still talk to a lot. I still hang out with them. We'll still make sure we're doing happy hour because we built a bond that's more than just work.
I ain't never stayed at a job for a person. No.
I really thought you'd be...
we'll get to, I got a whole thing, but you finish.
I really assumed I would be the one that didn't need friends.
So here's the thing about being an extrovert. I'll just pick up.
You'll just pick up.
I'll just pick up new ones.
Wow. I feel like you're just going to dump me and move on.
I mean, I don't want to, but I can if I need to.
So here's the interesting part of this conversation, which is I felt like it was hard to leave because of the people. but I wanted so badly to get into this work environment where it was me, myself, and I. Because while there was some people there, I really did not want to leave. I also didn't want to continue down this work path of constantly being pulled every which way. And like, depending on who's busier is who's going to need you the most, and kind of just constantly everything was a fire to put out.
Yeah.
But I really wanted to work by myself. So it's funny to me that I'm the one that really felt like it was hard to leave my work besties.
I did not feel that way.
Man, I was going to say, did you just not feel like, did you do stuff with your work colleagues, like outside of the work at all?
Sometimes.
Office at all? Like
Sometimes.
you got a happy hour or anything like that?
No. I hadn't really done that in a long time.
Yeah.
Even before I had kids, I didn't. Not really.
Yeah.
So, all right. So we're going to take a personal jaunt to come back around.
Here we go. There's arm movements, everyone.
So I read a book several years ago, and it was talking, I don't remember. Actually, you know what? It's not important what the book's about because I don't remember what the book was about. That's how impactful it was to my life. I know it was a nonfiction book, and it was narrated by a woman.
There we go.
That narrows it down. Go look it up. Anyways, part of the is I feel like it was maybe written by two podcasters.
Yeah.
And like, so the book was like a little bit of a discussion, but they got into how many best friends do you have?
Yeah.
And one of the women was like, I have like 30 best friends. What's your reaction to that?
That's too many.
That's what I said too.
Yeah.
And the friend was like, that's too many. And she's like, what do you mean that's too many? And before the other friend said it.
Those aren't best friends.
Right. And the other friend was like, well, how many should you have? What do you think?
I'm going to go with, based on, I would say I'm within 5.
Yeah. So
okay,
the 4 to 6 range.
Okay, cool.
From she had a bunch of data.
I nailed that.
Look at you. Nailed it. I hit the microphone. Nailed it. And the other woman had a bunch of data points. And so like, before she even said that, like I was thinking about like who my closest like circle was.
Right.
And there's like 4 or 5 of them. And so that's in my personal life. And sometimes there is some crossover from people that I met in my professional life. Like I met you.
Yes.
I met you through my professional life. You're not my 4 or 5, but you're my 10.
Yeah.
You're in my 10 because there's layers to it, right? Like
I made the MySpace top 10 at least.
It was a top 8, but you'd probably make it. Yeah, that'd be all right. But like, there's like my circle, like my tight circle, like they get everything. And then there's like my secondary circle. And that's where you are. Like, I'm very close to you, but you're not.
Agreed.
You're not
taking it personally.
No. And I feel like I'm probably about the same for you.
Yeah.
And then there's a bunch of people like outside of that. Right. And so that's how I look at a lot of that stuff. And so my work besties rarely made it into that inner circle.
Okay. Interesting.
And the only one that ever really did, I was friends with her before I worked there.
Yeah.
So like we were already incredibly close.
Yeah, sure.
And so it's not that like, it's not that I was joking. I don't just like go swap y'all out.
Yes.
It is very easy for me to make friends though. So I'm fine.
That's fair. And there is a difference between work bestie and real
like bestie.
And do they overlap at all? And I would say, I don't want to like exclude anyone.
Yeah.
But my friend Sarah, where I used to work, we were really, really close and we didn't know each other really until I started working at the same agency she was at. Mm-hmm. And then she had left for a couple years and she went back and I had warned her, like, you come back, but you know, it's kind of, I'm thinking about leaving. So I don't want you to come back and think we're back at it again.
Yeah.
But we've definitely crossed that threshold of like work versus like true bestie, I feel like. And I have some others that I feel like that as well. But there's definitely, but then there are some people that like, it's truly like just a work bestie relationship. I had this one guy I used to work with, him and we were yin and yang.
Yeah, Danielle is like so like animated right now talking about this. She's like so into
thinking
it.
about working with him. He was
like her little arms are up, y'all. She's like into it.
I loved and we would also, I mean, we would have he always knew when I was angry. Oh, I'd let him have it, but he knew like it was never personal. It was just me. I was in the mood, but we had that good working relationship. I'll still make sure I'm going back to have lunch with him and see him once in a while. But you know, all that to say, that's what made it really hard to decide for sure that I wanted to do what I was doing because I built such great relationships with so many people, which of course I did. I worked there for 10 years.
And I also worked at my last job for 10 years. So I don't want to pretend like I didn't have connections with other people.
Yeah.
I absolutely did. I just think, and I don't even know that this is an introvert versus extrovert thing. It might be partially influenced with that.
Maybe partially.
It may also just be some circumstance, like just personalities and circumstances, but I don't know. I can't relate on this note.
Interesting. I'm fascinated.
Yeah.
I feel like I say that every podcast.
You say it to me a lot. Fascinating. I'm like,
It's stuff that most people probably do not think it's
But you're a really great active listener. Like when like making small talk.
I'm all in.
Dude, if somebody says to me fascinating, I'm like, oh, I'm going to tell you more.
Well, I feel like people think I'm an active listener. What's interesting, I'll go back and listen to our podcast episodes and I'll hear a lot of the conversation that I'm like, I did not hear her say that in the moment, but I can tell I was looking like I was actively listening. Yeah. And it's like, wow, it really took me 3 or 4 takes to really take in this whole conversation.
No, you're fine.
I must do that in meetings too. Like what else am I just not hearing people say?
I don't think I ever don't remember you saying stuff. I do notice that I might active listen too much. A lot. I do.
See, we are going to continuously pick up all of our interesting.
This
habits.
Podcast makes me have a lot of questions to me.
Yeah,
like
we're learning a lot about ourselves in this journey.
And in the video aspect, I'm looking at it. I'm like,
would you be your own work bestie?
No, 2 Evas. No,
we don't need that. That'd be too much.
That'd be a lot of mood. But like, no, because I don't know. So here's the thing. I often think about like, would I be friends with myself?
Yeah.
If there was another me, and like, I think in many ways I would like me.
Yeah.
But
would you annoy yourself?
Well, no, that's not where I'm going. The other day, this came up in conversation when you and I were texting.
Yeah.
I somehow did not realize that you are a youngest daughter.
Oh, right.
I'm an oldest daughter.
Yes.
Almost all of my closest female friends have always been the youngest daughter.
Just saying.
Like my whole life.
Yeah.
There's one exception I can think of at the moment.
Right. One thing I have found interesting is I think back about like my closest friends, almost all of them are March. But more specifically,
oldest daughters.
Early March.
Oh, no, y'all's birthdays are all spread out.
Oh, that's what's wild to me. The amount of friends that I have that are born March 8th.
Really? There should only be 2.
No, more than 2. It is insane to me.
I think, I post like astrology memes and stuff like that, and I find them interesting, but I actually adhere a lot more to like, I think birth order like significantly influences people's personalities.
Yeah.
And sure. I ascribe a lot more to that. And like, there was a while there where like everybody I'd ever dated was the same birth order.
Oh, wild.
Yeah. And then all of my best friends are like youngest daughters.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
I mean, they're not hard and fast rules. I mean, there's deviations in there for sure.
So you're allowed to be friends with another oldest, or would you guys butt heads?
One of my closest friends right now is also another oldest, and her brother's about the same age as it's a similar dynamic.
There you go.
I think I am hard coded in general to be like an overachiever and type A, and like a lot of that I think is just personality type. I'm an ENTJ. If any of y'all ascribe to Myers-Briggs, it's the second least common personality type.
I got one. I forgot.
Did you Myers-Briggs yourself?
Not that one. There's another one. And I was put into the category of chameleon.
Oh, which one's that one? I'm going to look it up.
It was cultural index or something like that. And I was put in this chameleon category.
Oh, so it's not a Myers-Briggs, it's something else.
No.
Right.
And it was interesting because it was like only 1%. And what was crazy where I worked, there were 2 of us that worked.
Oh, really?
And
well, there might be certain like jobs.
But so here's what's interesting about chameleon. And I didn't know if I loved it at first, but then I grew to love it because I understood it a little bit more. It just meant we were very adaptable. So we could be in a group of people that were nothing like us, but we just adapt to be more like them. And then we go to a completely opposite group and we adapt to be more like them. So it was just kind of an interesting way to look. Now, on the negative side of that is people dealing with chameleons don't always know which way we're going to sway. So they don't know which me they're going to get.
Okay.
But in most cases, I'm not super confrontational because I am going to adapt to the group.
Oh.
So I thought it was interesting.
So I didn't take that. I did Myers-Briggs and I've done Enneagram, which I don't actually know a lot about. I know I'm an Enneagram 8, but I don't know as much about it as I do in Myers-Briggs. And if you're going to at me about like the fallacies within Myers-Briggs and like how it was constructed, fine.
Right.
I got it. I'm still going to talk about it because I actually do think it's pretty accurate. So for each of the personality types, there's like a phrase, like who you are in the group. So like the chameleon or whatever. ENTJs are the commander.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I wish I remembered what I did that one too. I wish I remember what mine was.
I mean, like I did mine through a management program. So I didn't do I did a big thing about it. But I think between being an ENTJ and being an oldest daughter.
Yeah, you got a lot. I got
a lot going on. And so I think I click well with youngest children. Yeah. These are not hard and fast rules, but youngest children. Yeah. Other oldest and I can sometimes like get on the same page.
Right. Probably have to work more at that relationship.
A little bit. I don't recall a lot of relationships with middle children. I'm sure there's been some.
I married a middle child.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah. Probably because he's adaptable.
Right. Only children and I get along well.
There you go.
I read somewhere that only children and oldest children have similar communication skills because we had to talk to adults more because when you're youngest, you had an older sibling to go like talk to parents, but like when you're the oldest and like the oldest have like a brief amount of time where they are an only. Like youngest and onlys tend to be where I kind of gravitate.
That makes sense.
But yeah, so I think all of that kind of influences like who I become friends with and stuff like that. But also like the E in ENTJ is extrovert and I scored almost like off the chart.
We believe it.
Right?
I was the complete other side of that chart.
Oh my God. I'm so weirdly extroverted. It's wild. Like, so
let me ask you this then.
Yeah.
So knowing that you didn't have that many work besties.
Yeah. I'd work friends, but not like work besties.
Sure. But now that you're working by yourself, do you ever miss the humans?
Nope.
No. You were so fast to say that.
Nope.
Okay, so why do you feel like you don't ever miss humans?
Because
or are there situations that you do miss them?
No.
Okay, never mind.
Here's the thing.
Miss humans.
Here's the thing. I see a lot of people. Anyways, let me tell you about an extrovert. When we want to see people, we go see the people. Like we just go do it. Like there is no gap in my life where I feel like I don't have that space because I just go make that space when I'm ready to make that space.
Sure.
And I have a lot of introverted friends and I have for a long time because I collect y'all.
Yeah.
Y'all like Pokemons. Put y'all over here. And I found that the introverts in my life, when they talk about how they have to like recharge, not even just like like we've had casual conversations about it, but like I've talked to people and I'm sure you're very similar in this, maybe not to the extreme, maybe you are, but they're like, I have to recharge for like days, days and days and days. It is so rare that I have to do that. So part of why I don't miss people is because I don't need a lot of rebound time. And it's very easy for me to like just bounce from one social setting to the other. All of that being said, three very integral things play into my life that make me not miss people as a freelancer. One of them is where we are. Like being connected to a co-work space.
Yes.
I do not come into to SoCo here in Columbia very often, unless to record or I come to some of the events.
Right.
But when I come to the events or I'm in the Slack channel, like I have made some genuine connections there. Yeah. So I do feel like I walk in and I know people. Like when we were walking to the studio today, I said hey to somebody that we've done the book club together. 2, board service has replaced that need in coworkers. And then 3, like I have been in Columbia for a very long time, but even like I'm pretty good at staying in touch with people who don't necessarily live here.
Yeah.
And even friends who live here that maybe I don't see them a lot. Like, I want to text you memes and pictures of my dog being an idiot and, something random I saw and then I want to ask you what you had for dinner. And so like, because I'm extroverted, I'm good at reaching out and like keeping in touch. So like, that's why I don't miss coworkers. And also I like not having them because I can just get my work done.
See, I really thought you were going to, because you're so extroverted, I really thought you were going to say that you miss being around people so much. You're still making sure you're doing all the things
but I don't even have to make sure. Here's the thing.
It's part of your life.
It is second nature to me. It just, I don't know. And I know like this also like, I think it's important to acknowledge your privilege in spaces, and privilege doesn't always have to be the way you traditionally see that.
Yeah.
But like, there's a lot of privilege in the fact that like, I don't struggle to make conversations with people. I don't struggle talking to new people. it doesn't mean I become best friends with everybody I know.
Right.
But it's an asset and a strength that I have that like, I don't know. I'll just go make a new friend.
Where is me, if I'm going to an event, I need to have a buddy already before I go to said event.
Right.
Because, I don't want small talk. Took me, I'm still building it up.
You're doing great.
It took me 3 months. No, 2 months. 2 months to finally call my dentist back. Not to book an appointment. I'm trying to get a Invisalign. I'm just trying to call them.
Right.
And I finally call them and I get an operating service. They're closing a random Wednesday.
Yeah.
So now I have to do it again. And it takes so much energy to do that and build it up. It's funny though. I posted about it. I had at least 10 people message me and they're like, "Oh, we are the same way." They pick their doctors based on who books appointments online. That's wild. So I'm like, at least I'm not alone.
So I'm not like, that's the thing. Even being like really extroverted, I still have moments like that. So like yesterday, I had an emotional day yesterday and I realized it was like 1:15 or 1:30 and I had not eaten lunch yet. And I was on my way back to the house and I did not feel like cooking. So I was like, I'm going to pick up some lunch on my way back. But I was like, I cannot talk to a human being right now and tell them what I want to eat. I was like right next to like a Moe's or something. I was like, I cannot bring myself to tell somebody what I want to eat right now. So I placed like an order like on a thing online where I could just pick it up and like not talk to anybody. And it's just like, sometimes I get these blocks and I can't, and it was so minor. And if I absolutely had to do it, I would have. Yeah. But like, I had like an emotional couple hours. And I was just like, I can't. Yeah. I just can't. But I need to go eat. So like, this is a way around. Yeah.
DoorDash, no context. My favorite thing in the world.
Well, I also love it. I love getting stuff like delivered to the house because although I'm extroverted, I want to be prepared to talk. Don't make small talk with me at the store because I didn't ask you to.
Oh God, no.
And I don't want to make like, I got to be in the space. Yeah. To do it. Yep. I don't want to. That's why sometimes we've had to like reschedule the podcast because like I'm like, I cannot do it today.
So I do think there's times I miss humans, and that is usually, and I think I've said this before, it's usually for like brainstorming and concepting. Yeah. But what I have done, and it has made me not really miss it as much. Yeah. But you just kind of build that group of freelancers around you because it is a really kind of beautiful community of just sharing and supporting. Yeah. And so if I need to have someone to kind of just throw an idea out of or get someone's opinion, I have that where like before I thought that would be the number one thing I'm going to miss the most is just being able to collaborate, but I still have it. Yeah. I'm just not working at the same place of this group of people. We're all working differently. Yeah. So it's kind of nice because you can kind of pick and choose who would be best fitted to give you feedback for the project that you need to work on.
Right. And sometimes that's the person who is closest to it or the person who's furthest away. Or sometimes I want somebody to be harder on it. So I'll send it to somebody I'll send it to somebody who's not a creative. Yeah. I'm like, I don't want to talk to marketing people a lot, but I do right now. Hi. Does this make any sense? So yeah.
Can you read this word?
God, that sounded like my eye exam last week. They were like, can you read that? I was like, absolutely not. No. Like we kept getting to the end of the line. I'd get the letter wrong. I was like, D? And he goes, or O. And every line he was like that. I was and he goes, V. I was like, all right, you know what? Fine.
So overall. Yeah. Surprisingly, I had more work besties. Yeah. I find that fascinating.
I just think, I don't know. Yeah, I don't.
Sure. And then when it comes to missing humans, you're a big no.
Hard
and
no.
I would say I used to be a yes. And the longer I'm doing this, I'd say no, because we're building this community around us. So I don't really, there's nothing to miss because we've built a community around us.
Right. So also, I didn't really think about this until this exact moment. Yes. We should probably take into consideration, number one, how long I've been doing this. Yeah. But also think about it, Danielle. I quit my job and then we all went into lockdown.
That's a good point.
Anything looks social compared to what the first year of my career was.
That's fair.
Not the first year of my business was.
That's fair.
So I wonder, I never really thought about, I mean, I think a lot of this stuff would also
could
still
that
be true.
come into play because you left your job before. Because I also,
it'd only been a month though.
Yeah. There's people I know that like they left their job during the pandemic and their whole perspective of leaving a job is different than my perspective. Right. Because by the time I left, it was already like 3 years removed from the pandemic.
I left before we knew it was happening.
Yeah. So you didn't know what to expect.
Right. So like, I don't know that dramatically, because I do think
it does make you think though.
It makes me think, like, because I do think a lot of my answer really just comes from like my personality type and how I interact with the world. And like, I do like being very social, but I like controlling when I'm social. And that was the thing that always bothered me about being in an office, is that I had no control over when it was time to talk to people. Whereas now I can block whole days where I don't talk to people, or I try to line up all my meetings or whatever. I think it is partially comes into play the fact that like I left my job and then everybody went into lockdown like a month later.
That's fair. Yeah. Yes. No matter what, you're overly socialized now.
I'm fine. I talk to people all the time. Do you want to get on my text list and see pictures of my dumb dog?
There we go. It makes me think too, this is now that we're thinking about like when we went to work from home, I actually feel like I'm better at being in social settings now and networking events and meetings. And I bring more energy to the table.
Because you didn't burn yourself out at work all day.
Yes. Because when I was having to go to an office, I was forcing myself into this environment that I didn't realize at the time was just not naturally me.
Right.
And so I had to constantly be on all the time. This is why I get so drained when I'm on work trips, because I have to be on the whole time.
Even as an extrovert, that can be exhausting, because I saw that my social battery not only became easier to recharge after leaving like a traditional work environment, but it became bigger, for lack of a better term. Like I can store up more social energy now that I'm not constantly having to be in an office and like talk to people.
Right. And I don't know. I love it. So now I'm not as stressed or frustrated if I have a work trip or I have a meeting or anything like that, because I'm going into it far more energized than I was when I was working in an office, because it just wasn't for me. And it is the thing for many, many people. And there are a lot of people that thrive doing it, but I discovered that was just not the case for me. Yeah. And I am grateful that I have discovered this journey that I could go on and not have to sit in a cube anymore.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of people feel that way, introvert or extrovert. And really at the end of the day, I love like taking apart our differences. It's kind of fun. It's kind of our vibe. But really it's about knowing like what makes you click and what doesn't make you click. And
for sure.
And you look, man, we all got to do stuff that we don't want to necessarily do as part of our job. Right. Yeah. Even as freelancers, I have to do stuff all the time that I don't really want to do.
Oh yeah.
But like you got to work around that and do that, and then figure out like what do you need for your recovery or rebound or whatever that may be to like get yourself back to like what feels right for you.
Yeah. Otherwise, the only thing that's going to happen is burning yourself out.
That's right. We ain't got time for that.
No, that's another episode.
Did we do that? Anti-zombie list?
There we go.
Burnout. So. All right. Well, I feel like we talked a lot. I love how much we talk about how you're not an extrovert, and then I trap you in a room for 2 hours and make you talk.
Every week. Here I am.
She's doing
she
great.
Makes me leave my home.
She walks in like pumped and ready to go. And I'm like, ugh. All right.
We are opposites. And then we leave probably about equal.
No, we're about, but like, I'm just so used to being able to turn my, my sass on. I'm like, all right.
No, I have to be mentally prepared for this every week.
I was not listening to Slipknot on my way in today.
Okay. Is that good or bad? I don't remember.
You told me to not rage on my way into the podcast anymore.
That's fair.
That's what you told me to do. Thanks. All right, guys. Thanks for listening.
Yeah.
This was fun. We'll see you next week.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Remember to follow us on Instagram at Ghost Boss Podcast. And also please like and review us on your favorite podcast app.